So, welcome to episode 50 of the 365 podcast. Is it going to be anything special? No, unfortunately not, because I'm in a rush. I got to get out of here very quickly. So, I apologize for that. But, the fact that it's already been 50 episodes is crazy. Time's really gone by really, really quickly. So, I'm just going to talk about the idea of patience today. It's going to be a little bit short because I have to get out of here quick. And, I'm kind of learning life lessons day to day as I go through, all these things that I'm going through right now. So, 50 episodes is cool. It's already been that quick. Hopefully, things will get better in the future. I'm going to improve this setup eventually. But of course, right now that I'm working on my job and trying to make some money, it's a little bit tough. So, bear with me a little bit. But here is the idea of patience, right? Patience is a virtue, right? Of course, that's a saying, but it's also true. Some people have patience, other people do not have patience. And patience is basically just waiting. You have to wait for something to happen. With the world we live in, the instant gratification, people want things to happen right away. People want to get rich quick. That's why it's so popular. But I was just reading yesterday in the Bible that there's no such thing as get rich quick. There's no such thing as low effort, high reward, right? It doesn't exist. You reap what you sow, truly. And it's like, there's a level of patience, right? Doing the work and going through the journey, going through the grind, you're not going to make it big right away on the first attempt. And you're not going to make it big in the first couple hours, couple days, weeks, months, or even years. God works on a different timeline than what you want in your life. So the practicing the pursuit and the virtue of patience is super good and important because it's necessary, man. Like if you're not patient, you'll never get anywhere, right? If you have to wait in line to eat food, you won't go eat food. You'll eat something else or something. I don't know. Like I'm trying to give you like a real world example of why patience is. We all know patience is important, but I'm trying to give you an example as to why, like how you can explain it. But like the biggest thing is that it's like that. Everyone wants to get rich quick. Everyone wants to be successful right now. And I'm guilty of it too at times, of course. But just know that like that's not God's plan for you. God's plan for you is different. He works on a different timeline. So it's up to you to continue working hard, no matter how long it takes. And eventually you'll get the breakthrough. But it's not going to be at the type of time that you necessarily would want. So that's patience. That's really how you would define patience. It's waiting. Delayed gratification instead of instant gratification. Or if any gratification, right? This is the pursuit of life. Sometimes you might not even make it. You have to accept that. But you have to be patient on your journey. And you can't rush. I'm kind of rushing today, and you can see in the quality and the sloppiness of the episode itself how I'm rushing and I have to get out of the house super quickly. What rushing does, and always being in a hurry and always wanting things to go quick, what that does is it creates unnecessary stress. It creates an unnecessary pressure that you're putting onto yourself. If you can just practice patience, be like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, right? But I don't have to do it now, right? I have to work, but I know that I'm not going to achieve these things now. I know that I don't have to rush about it. That's a level of stress that is calmed down, right? A level of de-stressing to yourself, because it's important to know that you're not going to do it right away, and you're not going to achieve the things on the very first attempt. So it's super, super important to practice patience, because it lowers the amount of stress you have. Just rushing creates unnecessary stress. You don't have to be so stressful, right? There's other things in life that are going to stress you out, that you need your energy and you need your 100% capacity to tackle certain life's problems. So don't put unnecessary stresses on yourself by always thinking things have to be quick, things have to be rushed, you're always in a hurry. It's just unnecessary stress. And you have to do things to be patient, to realize that, okay, you're not in a hurry. You have plenty of time, plenty of years left in your life. And that's what truly matters. So you're going to continue working hard no matter what through it all, right? And you're not going to give up. You're not going to quit, because you're patient. That's what patience also is. If you want things to be quick, you want that instant gratification, well, on a big pursuit where you need more of yourself, you're going to quit very quickly. But if you realize that it's a big pursuit, you need patience, you need to understand that you just have to keep going, keep grinding away, Even if you've gone for months and still nothing has happened, keep grinding away, and you'll find that things will work out eventually. That's God's will. That's Jesus' will for you. However, in the way that He wants it to go. But you need to understand that it's not going to happen on your timeline. It's not going to happen on your terms. It's not going to happen in the way that you want it to. So practice patience, and you will relieve a lot of stresses in your life, and you will also be able to tolerate people more, because sometimes people just, people are just annoying, right? I don't know. You ask someone a question and they don't actually answer right away, right? I understand that in life speed's important, but sometimes you have to slow it down. Understand that some people you're going to have to deal with. You need patience to deal with certain people. Patience is super important in that way too, because it will cause you to be calm, collected, and not lash out at people that are annoying you or wasting your time or whatever. So if you're patient with them, especially if it's worth it, like if it's worth being patient with someone because they're a person around you, and you whatever the situation is, I don't know, you ask someone for some advice and they go on like a 20-minute rant or something like that, like kind of like me, If you're patient with them, you might actually find the life lesson, let's say. But if you're not patient with them, you're just kind of gonna be like, all right, get to the point, buddy, right? And then that leads to problems, right? So it's just kind of like it's an overall mindset and mentality of what you're meant to do, right? So being patient is super important. It's a very commended virtue in the Bible and in the teaching and just in life in general. The person that's patient is a lot more calm, collected, less stressful, more intentional with what he says, what he does, who he listens to. And as a result, the patience will eventually push you past that level, get to that escape velocity, get to that point where you're actually making something of yourself in your life. So that is what patience is. That is how to be patient. It's tough, man. And I have people in my life that's, there's this saying that's like, when God was giving out patience, I left. That's the saying, because it's the irony of it, right? When God was giving out patience, I left, because you were waiting in the line to receive patience, but you're impatient, so you just left the line. You didn't want to wait in the line. That is that kind of metaphor, that little saying that really tells you all you need to know. If you can be more patient, things can get done in your life much easier, much smoother, and much better with significantly less stress. And it's just a beneficial thing as well to you. Again, the Bible talks about it because it's actually beneficial to you to be patient, to understand that sometimes things will take longer than you want them to. Delayed gratification is super, super important to have in your life. And as a result, the patience will help you do better each and every day in all that you do. Live with more calm, with more stress, with more peace. Sorry, less stress and more peace. There you go. And that's what's up. That is how you have to be patient. Me personally, I'm working on it. Today I have to be in a rush because I have somewhere to be at a specific time. But it is what it is, man. I'm still here, grinding, making this episode, talking about patience. So hopefully you learn something. Hopefully you take something from it, and you learn that not everything has to be done instantly. Not everything has to be done exactly at the speed you want it to. And it's a good thing that things don't go as fast as you want it to, because if everything goes fast, you'll never actually be able to just stop and think and appreciate the things you have. If things are going so fast in your life, you want things to slow down at times, and that requires patience, and it's super important to actively practice that each and every day. So for those of you that are here still, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this 50th episode that we got here. I've already gained quite a little bit of subscribers, which is pretty good. I already had a lot of subscribers because this was a previous account earlier, but even still, like on top of it, I've already gained a few. So it's good. I appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And, go watch all the other videos I have. I have plenty of other great content, longer content, more detailed, explicative content that is better and more polished than the video like today, admittedly. My apologies on that. But it's all good, man. Stay positive, stay patient. Go watch those videos, learn a thing or two, improve yourself each and every day, improve your faith every day. That's what I'm trying to do. Help you turn to God, help you turn to Christ, help you become the type of person that He wants you to become, and spread the word in the way that I know how. So that's the goal of this show. And 50 episodes in, I'm not going to stop anytime soon. As stressful as the rest of my life is, I'm always going to make at least 10 minutes time to to sit down and talk to you guys, talk about whatever life issues are happening at the time. So thank you for being here for episode number 50. Maybe I'll do a special episode in the future. I'm definitely going to change some things with regards to this show eventually, so it's all good. So thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for being a part of this journey. So get out of here, and I'll see you tomorrow for the very next episode.